Hi there, you're at the Solana Wyckoff weekly session. We'll look at both weekly and daily chart with the Wyckoff method implied or imposed on it. So let's start. Here we're looking at the weekly, of course, because the weekly is going to govern what's going to or how far price can go in the daily. So in the weekly chart, we understand we are having rebounds from previous sign of weaknesses. And one interesting thing is Solana, we haven't seen an actual upthrust after distribution. So in previous videos, I've tagged something over here. It's more like a clumsy, is because the wick itself has gone higher than the upthrust, but the price did not close above it. So if we change it to a line chart, this peak is actually lower than the upthrust. So for now, I would consider this a second test, because what's going to happen, or what can possibly happen after an upthrust, is something called an upthrust after distribution. It may not always happen, but it's a possibility given the right conditions. So assuming if the upthrust after distribution is somewhere near this wick at around $300, I'll put it at that point for now, 300. What's 301? Yeah, too much. Yeah, around that point. So if the price is really going to challenge that level, obviously the first resistance it has to go through is the 160 mark. That's where it's receiving a bit of selling pressure now. It's staying around this line. The wick has gone above, but the body seems having difficulty closing above the yellow, and the volumes themselves is declining as well. And the second level it has to go through is $185. Obviously there are a few more levels, just assuming it has all the right things, all the momentum and demand, and push it all the way to the new high at $300. How long would it take roughly? So given the current trajectory, if I change back to the chart view and if I draw a box here, based on the previous lows, so if I take this wick at the bottom here, and also this point plus these points, so this we can see a channel, an upward channel that's been developed over the course of basically 4 or even 5 months time. That's roughly how the channel should be. Yeah, it's more or less at this level. So you would argue, would it be steeper or not? Currently I'm trying to fix the bottom at this point. Actually I should adjust the slope as well. Let's put it this way, it should be less steep. Yeah, roughly around that. Okay, so if the price really has to go to $300, let me extend this a little. Don't go away. Yep, so there we go. 300 at this level. This is the point we're talking about. If we look downwards, that's about January next year. If that is this rate of climb hasn't changed. Obviously it can change along the way, because once it hits a certain level it can immediately shoot up and break outside of the box and then retrace back to where it wants to go. However, if it doesn't change, if it keeps bouncing within the box, $300, it's around somewhere around New Year time, so less than half a year from now. So let's see whether really there is an upthrust after distribution. Like I said, it may not always happen, and given the volume is declining, it's a bit tricky for that aggressive go. For medium term or like near term, we're seeing this triangle here, right? So if it keeps on edging here, it has to solidly break the yellow resistance line at around 160, or it's going to break this upward trend and seek a low point and maybe even returning to a new accumulation cycle. So it's both sides of the story that can potentially happen. If we look at the daily chart, daily we talk about we were somewhere after buying climax and second test. This the current last 8 or 10 days, the price has broken outside of this downward trend. Last week we probably have talked about it already. It successfully closed above the top edge of the box, so clearly it's towards an upward trend. Currently has shown a bit of like waning demand at around this resistance line somewhere around 160. This this red bar, volume bar at the bottom is pretty high, so you see this long wick there, right? At around 170 or close to $170, there are quite a number of people selling. So if I were to draw a similar upward trend box over here, let's say this way, just want to see it in this interval, and let's put the color here. So if it really successfully stays on the yellow, the mid yellow line, what it would test is obviously the yellow above that, around 165, 185, $186. However, there is another triangle here, so it has to break through this 185 line, or the upward trend may finish at that point. So when we edge nearer to the end of this month, we would be seeing either breakthrough above or below. So that's the time frame we're looking at. If that happens, if it really tests the yellow line and goes above it, that would be an up thrust for Wyckoff method. Let's put it here. We don't know yet. We just put a question mark. If it comes down, or if it dies down right here, that's basically another LPSY. So that's also a question mark for now until things are confirmed. But this current volume bar over here, rising volume and starting to see a red at this stage, isn't very promising for the upside. But who knows, right? Maybe suddenly there would be some good news that push it all the way, not to the moon, but at least to the up thrust. And if it really does come down, obviously there's a support over here. This earlier trend down box would provide a little bit of support around $130-ish before the price comes to the 120 to test the bottom of the yellow box. That happened in March and April, 2 times, multiple days. So would we see it near the end of this month or early next month, early mid next month? That's something we have to observe closely. So remember, while you're riding this upsurge, keep your stop loss there, don't take it away, because at this point in time Solana is still at a stage where high fluctuation would happen, and it can go either way. Not like some other altcoins that shows a different sign because basically they're at a different Wyckoff stage. So thanks for joining me today. See you tomorrow.